Should have wore that shirt last week.
We are
Yeah,
live.
yeah. I just got it in.
Yes. I guess that was a little behind the scenes. Welcome to the THS Discourse. Tonight we're going to talk about Rob Zombie's first three movies. Well, not first three. First movie, I guess, and a second?
Yeah.
And then the newest. Obviously, we're talking about House of a Thousand Corpses. We're talking about The Devil's Rejects and Three from Hell, which came out last year. I really, just to get started here, I really enjoyed House when it came out, when I first saw it. I know there was some trouble behind it, so it came out a little bit later than it was supposed to, I think. And
It was filmed in 2000, didn't come out to 2003.
yeah, but I really enjoyed it. I saw it on DVD, and the Captain Spaulding, you ring the bell and all that stuff, just is better than the entire movie. You know? He says so many things, and then there, in the special features, there's
shit the bed.
Well, shit the bed, yeah.
I just remember being frustrated as hell because, like, all right, I just want to watch it. I want to sit through 5 minutes of an intro every time.
I loved it though. And then, of course, there's the special features. Tiny fuck the stump. Knock knock, who's there? That's Tokar. Did you guys see that part?
Yeah.
Tiny fuck the stump. Okay. Because me and my friends would use that a lot. Every time he'd knock on my bedroom door, my roommate, he'd say "Tokar, Tokar," because it's knock knock anyway. Yeah. So and then followed up with the Devil's Rejects, and I think it was '05, which is by far his best movie. I don't think there's any question on that. It's a great movie. It's a beautiful movie. It's such a wonderful movie. It has the best words, um, which is fuck mostly. Uh,
Yeah, I think it's got like the most uses of the F word,
it's
and
got to be a record or close to.
it was. I wrote it down. It was like over 500.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
and why not? I mean, you're gonna
it's
get an R
just
rating
fucking
anyway.
crazy.
Yeah,
Like I don't know how that happens because like the first script the first film I did when we did the table read, I went, "There's a lot of cursing in this." So I went back and cut a shut of shit out, and I'm like, "How could you not read that script?" I think a lot of it's probably improvised just to come
yeah.
out in the performances, but a lot of those fucks aren't
Especially
written.
right, especially with Bill Moseley.
Definitely
Yeah,
with Moseley.
Yeah,
and he's generally the most sensitive of the group. I know there's a lot of things he had problems with saying and doing in that one, and in the first one. But also, we'll talk about Three from Hell, which came out last year, which is the much anticipated, I guess, follow up. Most fans of Rob Zombie's movies and horror in general, I think, did want another shot at seeing the Firefly family together, and I did too. But I will say it's a decent sequel, a good movie for the most part, but it does what the sequel trilogy to Star Wars does to Return of the Jedi's End, which it's. I'm just saying the ending of the Devil's Rejects is superb. It's fantastic. We'll get there. We'll get to talking about that. I think. Um, think. Which one's your guy's favorite out of the three? Nate, what I'm guessing Devil's Rejects is everybody's, but
yeah, I think so. I think Rejects is probably his best out of the three. I think that House of Thousand Corpses is to me the most Rob Zombie movie. It felt like his music. I'm as a fan of White Zombie and Rob Zombie, so that reminded me of the music videos, and it was more him than anything he'd made. After that, he started to kind of emulate a lot of other films and filmmakers. He's obviously a film fan. I mean, just the stuff within his films, you could tell he's a big film history guy. I mean, he's mentioning all kinds of classic films, and
did you ever see his episode of Cribs?
No. Oh yeah, I had.
With his movie hallway? Sorry.
Yep. Yeah, he randomly pops up in VHS groups and just buys people's fucking tapes.
Yeah, I think that's why I was really excited about Rob Zombie doing Halloween, was because of him being a film fan and being a horror fan in general. But House of Thousand Corpses, one of my favorite things about it is there's a lot of it that really does remind me and have a feel of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I think that's what he should have remade, not Halloween. Anyway, Seth, what about you? Which one's your favorite?
I haven't seen Three from Hell yet, but Devil's Rejects by far. I think it's because I love the Devil's Rejects and the way it ended so much that I'm just kind of, I don't give a fuck if I see Three from Hell or not.
Just hanging on to that ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll get there eventually.
I case that feeling. Keith, what about you?
Devil's Rejects.
Okay.
I think it's all of us.
Yeah. Jared, what about you? Come on.
House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah, something different.
But I will add that The Devil's Rejects is probably his most polished film and his best film. That's personal preference.
I think he went like really downhill after The Devil's Rejects on everything he's done, in my opinion, and especially the Halloween movies. But let's talk about House. Let's talk about the House of the Thousand of Corpses and some of the things that he did. Some of the storytelling. We got to see Rainn Wilson, I think, for the first time. Dwight from The Office. What's that guy's name from
Chris Hardwick.
Chris Hardwick, yeah, he's unrecognizable in that movie. My favorite thing is when he goes Satan, all that. That's fun. Yeah, that's one of the best parts of the movie. Is excuse me, you see these people traveling, checking out all the highway attractions, which are kind of, I think, I don't know. Are they still happening? Do people still have these highway side show attractions like they
It's
did
got to
back?
be. I mean,
I don't
yeah,
go on road trips and stop very often. I just power through.
I don't know how many places are like that. Yeah, I think that's like a diamond in the rough. Or it's like Dan Aykroyd's house and Nothing But Trouble or something.
Yeah,
It's kind of horror ride and Duck Bone Stripper. But
I would love to go to
yeah,
a place like that.
yeah, it's cool. I mean, it totally is. Like I think I was talking about Rob. I think Rob would have made a great art director or something because that's like one of the things about his films is he just fills it with so much stuff. There's so much stuff in Captain Spaulding's place. I mean, like Aleister Crowley paintings and shit. I mean, there's like all these things that only he probably knows is there
Hmm.
mixed in with all that stuff. There's so much stuff in there that it would be cool to just kind of have a like if they could have preserved that gas station, that museum or whatever, and we could like people could see everything that was put into there.
Don't forget your complimentary fried chicken.
Just tastes so goddamn good. Yeah, why didn't they do that? Where did they shoot that anyway? How out of the way would that be for everybody to go visit? I wonder.
I think they shot a lot because this was a Universal production, and I think that was the reason it took so long because apparently he got the idea for the film because Universal Studios hired him to design a haunted attraction in 1999, and that's where he got the idea for it. And I think that's what started the whole Halloween Horror Nights thing at Universal. But he got the idea from that, so he was designing a haunted house to make it, and that's where the idea for the film came. So a lot of the movie was shot using Universal's backlot. Like the house that they used that they live in is the best little horror house in Texas house.
Is it?
Yeah, and
I
it's
know that.
the house where they're trick or treating with the girl's dad. He lives in the house. Leave It to Beaver house, and the Munsters house is on the same block. I guess it's in the background. So they shot a lot of that on Universal Studio, and that's why I think that may be the highest budgeted one of the three. I'm not sure, just because it was a big studio.
It's because they saw what he did and like, we're not giving this guy any money anymore.
Well, they didn't.
No
They didn't
more.
think it could get a R rating, and so I think they shelved it. And that's why it sat around for so long. And then Lionsgate picked it up, and so fuck, leave it. Like, but they had to have to cut a lot of stuff out of it, like 40 minutes worth of
Good
stuff.
God.
That's a lot.
Apparently, like a lot of stuff was like baby was a necrophiliac, so they really focused on that because you see a brief part of that with the
Yeah.
skeleton. But yeah, I'm interested. I think he said they showed the uncut version once, like at an event. But
Was it just too much? Was it too long? Too much necrophilia? Because I don't need to see. That's not my
well,
thing.
it's really kind of shocking. Even when you watch the movies as they are now, it's kind of shocking they ever got an R rating and got
Mm.
released in theaters. A lot of those, like, they're just so completely extreme in every way with the nudity and the language and the violence and the just the overall tone of the films. It's kind of,
Mutilation and
it's
body
just kind
horror.
I don't think you don't see those type of movies in theaters a lot because even like Saw and all that they don't have the depravity that Rob Zombie's movies have. These are like grindhouse underground midnight movie type things that they would have shown in grindhouses back in the 70s and 80s, like
Mhm.
porn theaters and stuff.
Yeah, and it definitely has the grittiness of those old type of movies too. He did a really good job on this movie. I mean, I was impressed when I saw this, and I was like, man, I can't wait to see what he does next, which I guess was the Devil's Rejects. But like for some reason, the first time I watched it, I kept getting a kind of a Sawyer family feel to the Fireflies.
Yeah,
They're
there was
way
definitely
worse,
a Texas
probably.
Chainsaw Massacre
Yeah.
Oh,
reference going on there.
Yeah,
obvious.
well, I mean, they have a dinner scene. I mean, it's the crazy hitchhiker. And what do you guys think of Baby as a character?
I like Baby.
I like her. She changes throughout all the films.
Hmm.
Like her character's different. House of a Thousand
She's
Corpses, like she drives me fucking crazy in that movie.
She was really over the top in that one.
Yeah, like the way she talks and everything. My fiance like didn't want to watch the movie, the rest of the movie. She's like, she's driving me nuts. But
Yeah.
I like her as she develops.
I like her less. By the third movie, she's whacked out of her brain, and she's super annoying. She gets more and more annoying, and I think her acting is decreasing. Also, I think she's becoming worse as an actress. I don't see why Rob Zombie has to throw his wife in everything he makes.
I mean, I knew that's the topic that has to come up with Rob Zombie because there's people who
We cast the same
can't.
people constantly.
Yeah, they don't like, and they get really upset about the Sherry Moon Zombie thing. But it's like, um, she never wanted to be an actress, and that's the only thing she does are his films. And she did Toby Hooper's movie, the Toolbox Murders,
Mm-hmm.
but apparently she turned that down originally. But because Rob and Toby were good friends, she agreed to do it. But that's the only reason because she doesn't want to be an actress. She just has no interest in it. She wanted to. The closest to that came. Apparently, she wanted to be a cartoon voiceover actress back in like when she was younger, and then wanted to be like an MTV VJ, and ended up as a dancer and choreographer and model, and that's how she hooked up with White Zombie, and we're going on tour with them and designing clothes and dancing and all that. And Rob was dating Sean at the time in the band. He eventually
the bassist. Yeah.
started dating her around Astro Creep period, I think. That was the first time he'd ever directed. He directed More Human Than Human video. It was the first thing he did as a director. And that's where his relationship with Sherry started. But yeah, I mean, people always say, well, why you gotta put your wife in the movie? Well, maybe that's his muse, man. Artists have muse. Maybe his wife is his muse. And he doesn't give a fuck if you like her or not, if you like her acting or not. And now that's one of the things I like about Rob is he doesn't give a shit if you like it or not. It doesn't matter. It's his art, it's his story. Take it or leave it.
It's 100% how he is.
Yeah, and it is, and that's what I love about him. I mean, you could hate him. I don't love everything he does, but I love that he is saying, I'm going to do what I want to do. And if I want to put my wife in my movie, I love my wife. She inspires me. We work together. I think it's beautiful that they can work together like that and make art together.
Yeah, he's definitely like that. People were bitching on his last tour that he was touring with, I think it's like Baby Metal or something. It's like a Japanese K-pop metal band thing. People were so pissed. And he was like, I don't care, come or not, pretty much.
People are going to come anyway.
Hey, I don't know if you've ever heard any of those guys' music, but their music is badass. Minus the 16-year-old girl singing over it, but it's metal.
I have not heard it. I was a fan of White Zombie and most of his music coming in, and I really don't have a problem with him putting his wife in the movies. I really don't give a shit. We'll get to that. Well, except for one movie, and we'll get to that when we get to the Halloween movies. But I like her character in all three movies. She does get more annoying by the third movie, but I think that's partially because she's been in prison for 10 years at that point, and she's completely lost. I mean, there's a scene where
it seems fucking weird.
A human in a cat suit dancing around or some shit. But so she's obviously completely gone at this point. But the thing about her I like in this one is this is the first time you ever really get to see her and see her character, and everybody has a role in that family, and she played her role perfectly in getting the people to the house and flirting with causing tension, flirting with Rainn Wilson's character.
The bait, the eye candy, the lure. Yeah,
she did great. I don't think she's a terrible actress like everybody, like all these people. I watched a bunch of shit on YouTube today about the movies and people complaining about her mostly. It's like, I don't think if there's a problem with any of these movies, I don't think it's her. First of all, I think she did fine with each movie, especially with Baby's descent into more and more madness. I do think, like I said, she got progressively annoying, although I really love certain things about her in the second movie. Like her relationship with Otis is so amazing in the second movie. And then when the three of them are together, Otis, Captain Spaulding, and Baby, it's It's so great. I know what you're thinking. Tutti fucking fruity.
Tutti fuck fruity.
I knew exactly what you were thinking as soon as you started snickering. But I don't know. I really like I like how dark this movie is. The first one. I like that it's kind of a single serving movie that has such a great goddamn terrifying. I can't say it. Terrifying ending. Trying to put the words together. Terrifying. Good movie, Seth. What about you? What do you think of House of Thousand Corpses?
I like it. Like Nate, I was into his music. Back when I was in high school, I
Did you have long hair and headbang?
No, not me. I was, fat and whatever. So I liked his music. I listened to Hellbilly Deluxe a lot, and I was excited when I heard that he was doing a movie. And like you guys said, I mean, it looks like it's like a feature length version of one of his music videos with the colors and the weird images that pop up. I like the first 2/3 of the movie, and the third act I don't really care for. The whole thing with Dr. Satan. I think the movie kind of peaked when Wydell and Walton Goggins got killed.
Yeah. What do y'all think about that ending? Because there's a lot of talk about that it's not really happening, that it's really her just going insane. That's what I've heard, that it's not real, that it's
all the Dr. Satan stuff and the
she's that she's just fucking lost it. The girl is.
That would make more sense, especially because when they put them down in like that well, there's just people down there.
Yeah, it just turns into like this supernatural film all of a sudden.
There was a lot of scary monsters down in that well.
Yeah, and it makes sense that she's just totally having hallucinations and insane.
Why not? Yeah, she's been through a lot of torture. I kind of could see that being interpreted because it does fall apart. Not fall apart, but it goes in a completely different direction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a definite 180 from what's going on.
Yeah, so I could see where that, and because at the very end, you see her running down the side of the road, right? So, I would. That's how I kind of always saw it. I never thought Dr. Satan. Well, Dr. Satan might have been real, but not in that form.
Yeah.
I actually probably thought it would have been interesting to actually like go into the Dr. Satan stuff in the second one. But
yeah, but
obviously
it's never mentioned again, really.
No.
They did have the scenes in the Devil's Rejects. They cut him out. Dr. Satan was in the hospital. Rosario Dawson was in the scene as a nurse.
What?
He dies, and they cut it out because Rob said having Dr. Satan in that movie was kind of like, I don't know, throwing Bugs Bunny and the Wild Bunch or something. Like it doesn't matter because it's such a ridiculous character. Whereas Devil's Reject is so grounded in many ways that just to Dr. Satan in it was too exaggerated.
I could see that. I would like a standalone like Dr. Satan thing. I think that would be cool.
That would be fun. If he does something else with this again, that would be kind of cool to work on the Dr. Satan legend, even if it is bullshit.
Yeah. Well, like his design and stuff was very cool. It was like very like Wolfenstein-esque.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, that would be really cool. But let me ask this: if you wanted to see something like that, would you take it after the Fireflies are gone, or?
No, I would do like the prequel. I would do it, set it in like the 50s or something, or.
That'd be cool.
Just without the Firefly family, just Dr. Satan.
Yeah. Well, they'd still kind of be around at that time. I mean,
true.
The movie, the first one takes place in the late 70s, and then 78 for the second one. So
they have to meet him at some point.
And if we go by Bill Moseley's real age, he's like 62, and so he'd be 52. And
it's well. I love the song "House of Thousand Corpses."
Oh, I do too.
When that came out, that's better than the film.
It is actually. It's a really
came out before it was on the out like.
This is the house.
It's a great song.
Yeah, I like that. They got G Uber and Baby. Get fucked up too.
Red Hot Pussy Liquor.
Yeah, it's a fun song. I really like it. I swear, like he probably could make movies out of every single song he's written. You know, like, yeah, I mean, not just.
I'm still waiting on Werewolf Women of the SS.
Probably gonna keep waiting.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Is there
I
anything
mean,
else
Nicolas Cage as Fu Manchu. I mean, come on.
write him a letter. Maybe
he will do
respond.
He would.
He
He does
have to go to
anything.
Kickstarter. Like, did he do that with one of his other movies? Kickstarted. Was it 31? Did he do that?
Yeah, he did. I believe. Yeah. There's other films that the film feels like, other than Chainsaw's the obvious one, but definitely the old Dark House. There's they even are watching it at some point in the film. Mm-hmm. And then Spider Baby, which is the Sid Haig movie. What's his name? The guy that did the Coffee and Foxy Brown and I forget his name. Somebody in the comments. Anybody know the guy that did all the blaxploitation movies?
Like
Foxy Brown.
Why am I forgetting his name?
Jack Hill.
Jack Hill. You know, Jack Hill did Spider Baby, and Sid Haig plays. Have you guys seen Spider Baby?
I have not.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, guys, you gotta check it out. Like it's a '60s film. Sid Haig. It's like that, like a crazy family living in a house, and Lon Chaney Jr. plays the dad, and he's got two crazy daughters. One of them's kind of like Baby. She's just totally batshit. And then Sid Haig is the son, who's kind of he's an oddball character. And again, like the family reminds me kind of like the old Dark House. Like Otis reminds me of the character in Old Dark House, Saul, the one who's upstairs, who's a pyromaniac. Y'all seen that, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Frank James Whale movie.
Yeah.
That's who he reminds me of. Is the Saul character, the one who's like up in the attic, the crazy one. They're all afraid of, maybe. Although I don't think they're afraid of Otis, but I think Otis is definitely presented as
he's the most terrifying of them.
He's
all.
The dangerous one. He's the one like, oh well, Otis is going to take care of things. Like Otis is here, and the shit's going to happen now. And and Otis, of course, is in many ways, other than Chop Top, and I'm sure Chop Top inspired that. But he's completely Charles Manson in every way.
Mm-hmm.
Everything about his speeches, everything, like all those. We know that Rob's definitely interested in Charles Manson and that, because especially in 3 from Hell, in the opening, is totally like the Charles Manson documentary stuff.
Oh, it's just like the Manson family, and
even the poster looks like Helter Skelter poster in many ways.
Yeah, my fiance kept pointing that out each movie we were watching. It was like, he has to be based off Charles Manson. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, I even quotes him in Devil's Rejects where he says, I am the devil on here. Well, that's not Manson. That's the other guy, Tex Watson. But Otis is completely Charles Manson. This is philosophical. When he starts ranting, when he's especially in, like I said, the new one where he's in the jail talking to the press and giving his views on,
the world.
And he's somebody that I could see people following and following him.
Oh yeah.
He's for what he is, a charismatic character, and that's. Although I don't like his look in the first movie, the really weird long sideburns and.
Yeah, I love the beard addition.
They gave him the beard. Yeah, it's a great.
They
beard.
kind of left because he was supposed to be albino in the first movie, wasn't he? They kind of abandoned that idea in some ways. Also, I love fucking Walton Goggins in the movie. I want more Walton Goggins. What's he tell that guy? Get off this car, ain't you at your fucking bedroom, you goddamn redneck.
He's great and everything.
Oh, he is, man. I just love Walton. Yeah, man.
Well, he had one of the better deaths in the entire movie too.
Oh, that's a really interesting death, man. That like 26-second pause before he shoots him.
That was great. We had the best time. We were watching the first time I saw it was at.
That was a great sequence.
He had a 100-inch projector, a screen up with a projector, and we're all watching it, and we're all looking at each other while this is happening. What's going on? And bam, it's like that was actually pretty cool. And every time. I love that scene. That's such a great scene. And
you're like literally waiting for something to happen, and you see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't watched a lot of these in a while. When we watched Devil's Rejects and it got to that scene, me and my fiance are looking at each other. I'm like, is the movie like frozen? And I kept looking at the screen. I was like, no, it's moving.
You should turn your light off.
my light off.
Yeah, you're bleached out again.
Well, if I turn my light off, you ain't gonna be able to see me.
Perfect. I think it's the lights behind you that's really messing you
No, you
up.
can still see me.
I had a joke though. I think I told you guys. No, I didn't tell you guys. Watching a movie. Sorry, this is 1977, and Rejects is 1978. There's a lot of shaved vagina in these movies.
Well,
Like
cheerleaders, you know,
all
they
the
do it their own
cheerleaders
way.
and victims, man, they're all bared. I'm like, wait a minute, wait.
This isn't accurate.
There wasn't a lot of womanscaping going on back then.
So,
For anybody interested, Spider Baby is on Amazon Prime. Just figured to throw that out
I'm
there.
glad you brought that up. We haven't talked about vaginas enough on this show.
Scott, where are you?
It's, that's like, wait a minute, this is supposed to be the 70s, right?
Yeah. Like I said, his movies feel decade ambiguous, so maybe the vaginas are ambiguous as well.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe cheerleaders, they wouldn't fit in their bloomers. Who knows?
Speak of the devil, Chris Hall's watching.
Is he? Oh, he must be back. We probably can't comment though.
Now, Keith looks like Batman now. It's in the Batcave.
Do we have any comments on the House of Thousand Corpses?
We got a lot of comments, but I don't want to read any of them. Somebody else can. No, let's see. Jeremy Tidwell says Zombie eventually had to buy the rights to Corpses from Universal because they wouldn't release it. Then it got released by Lionsgate. Amber Foster says she loves Baby Metal. Okay. Seth, do you love Baby Metal too?
I don't think I've heard it.
Okay.
You like good metal guitars? They're good.
Jeremy, look it up after you're done, Seth. It might change your life.
Like really good heavy metal playing with Japanese teenagers.
Is it like that scene from Blade when he goes into the club and you get the you know what I'm talking about in the first Blade movie?
I was like, that's dubstep music though.
You get the little girl Japanese singer. It's like no. Yeah,
I mean,
it's not that annoying though.
That's not annoying. I thought that was cool. I would go to that club, and anyway, Jeremy Tidwell also says I always thought it was interesting how Otis' eyes change from corpses to rejects. Some of the appearance changed, but overall his eyes changed. Does that go along with the albino theme?
That's the albino thing. Yeah, you get no pigment.
Maybe he put somebody else's eyeballs over his. I don't know. He's who's your daddy?
Well, there's a difference between the two movies, even with the house and the surrounding property.
Mm-hmm.
Everything just looks different. He just has a completely different style, and some of the continuity kind of went away with that change.
And he's not a big fan of the film. He kind of he really hates it. He thinks all he sees. I mean, like any filmmaker, he sees flaws. One thing what he said was like on the first movie, you're just kind of figuring out how things work. So once he's on Rejects, he's got a little experience under his belt as far as making a feature film, which is just it's a lot to learn, a lot of mistakes, a lot of failure that happens, and so makes sense that Rejects was the better film because he was walking into something that he had the music video experience, but those are different than telling a story and just flashy cuts.
Definitely a lot more character exposition in Devil's Rejects, that's for sure.
That's the thing with House of Thousand Corpses, because I'm just going to say it's pretty much my first time watching it. I haven't seen it since I was a kid. We rented it on VHS from some random gas station.
Did you buy a shirt for it yet?
No.
Okay.
But we watched that, so my fiance never seen it, and my friend Logan had never seen it. My friend Logan the whole time, he's like, when does this movie start? Because I don't know what's happening. It keeps going all over the place. Which I understand what he meant. Like, it just keeps going. Like, there's nothing really continuing. The weirdest thing, which is more of the music video stuff, is just the random inserts throughout the whole movie that have nothing to do with the movie. Like the random old guy in the middle of the desert with a shotgun saying he's God or something.
Do you think do you think Rob Zombie just drove by that guy? He's like, I gotta get him in the movie. Do you think
It's possible.
I could see that.
Although the background behind him felt like like it was staged, like a set kind of thing that they put that there. But yeah, like that again. The whole movie feels like a music video from its editing to. There's like, and I feel like there's a lot of music through the whole thing. A lot more his music. I think there's only one of them that has his music in it.
Yeah, because Devil's Rejects and Three from Hell had mostly like classic rock songs.
Yeah, it's all needle drop stuff in the.
Yeah, didn't he do like a special album for House of a Thousand Corpses?
Yeah, I mean, the House of a Thousand soundtrack has like, Pussy Liquor is one of the songs, originals, and there's a few other originals that are Rob Zombie songs. But yeah, that's I think that's another one why that one feels like pure Rob Zombie as opposed to the sequels, which feel like other people's films. A lot of other, like even I know we're going to talk about Lords of Salem. Lords of Salem feels like other filmmakers' work. You can see the inspiration. There's inspiration here. Obviously, Chainsaw was a big thing for him. But anytime you make a film about family killers in Texas or wherever the hell they're at, it's going to feel like you're going to get the Chainsaw. And you got Bill Moseley in there.
Yeah.
And Bill Moseley, anytime he speaks, you're going to hear Chop Top.
And that's just a blessing.
Yeah.
So, that's just a blessing. I love Chop Top. I love Bill Moseley. I got a great Bill Moseley story from the first time I met him, but I'm just going to keep that for myself. So
I don't think I will.
I don't think I will. Yeah. No, I'll tell it later. It's anyway. So
Rejects.
Yeah, I mean, we can go on to Rejects if you'd like. Is there, unless anybody has anything that they want to say about the house? I mean, we covered how I thought. So back to the ending before we go. The ending, how terrifying. She seems like she's free. She runs into Captain Spaulding, but who's in the back seat? That's why it was terrifying to me. So,
which felt like the ending of Texas Chainsaw Massacre a little bit at the same time.
In a way, but Sally seemed to get free. Because if not, Lefty wouldn't have gone after the family in part 2. So anyway,
he's basically the cook. He works at a gas station, and she runs
that part,
the cook and thinks he's salvation. That he's really part of it, and
which is
there's a lot of parallels there.
Which is where the broom comes in on Keith's
But so many movies have used the gas station for directions thing in their horror. It's like a cliche of horror now.
Yeah, that's why the cliches in Cabin in the Woods. They hired the creepy
You couldn't do that now, though. You couldn't. I mean, you could in West Virginia, but you can't do that.
Hills Have Eyes, Children of the Corn, they all have it.
But they all take place in the past. Now, I mean, if you try to make something now, nobody's stopping. Just turn that GPS on.
Yeah. But like you said, West Virginia, if you're in a rural area, I can still see it working because cell signal doesn't work. You can't get GPS. There are still little small town like stores that don't have gas anymore.
Why is West Virginia still have any kind of population if it's that bad?
Because we're too poor to move.
I imagine you have you did that room up nice and fancy, but the rest
of the coal mines.
The rest of my house is shack.
Yeah, it looks like Jason's cabin in the woods. That's what it looks like. It's like 10 metal plating on. Anyway, Devil's Rejects came out in 2005. And I think I had to wait to. Did it go theatrical?
Yeah.
I waited to DVD then, so because I saw it on DVD. I don't remember it ever being in the theaters. Like I was thinking about that, and I honestly don't remember any kind of promotion on the movie at all.
I saw both of those in the theater the first.
Yeah, same here.
They both flew under my radar. I saw it at Blockbuster one day, and I rented it because I had seen the other one. I'm like, oh, and it was a follow-up for the most part, even though you technically don't need to watch the first one to see this one at all.
I agree.
Yeah.
When I saw Devil's Rejects, I didn't even know it was a sequel for years.
Yeah. I wonder why that is. I mean, it's obviously a sequel because it follows the same characters and It's after the events of the first movie. The one thing that bothers me is there's no evidence of Fish Boy. That's hurtful. That's just hurtful.
Fish boy.
Fish Boy. You're following the same characters. You get deeper into the story. I absolutely love this movie for the first time. Remember, the staple for me for a great movie is wanting to watch it again. I watched it immediately after I watched it the first time. That's how much I loved it. Everything about it, the characters, I just wanted to, more of them. And it's one of those movies that you kind of start rooting for the bad guys, which you're not technically supposed to be rooting for the guy who calls himself the devil.
I never rooted for the bad guys.
You are the bad guy. Duh. No, I don't know. I absolutely am entranced with Bill Moseley as Otis. He's amazing. I mean, every word he says in that movie, I'm just, oh yeah, just on the edge of every word. I love him so much in this movie. I mean, of course, I've seen him in so many other movies, but this one really, it might be his best performance ever.
I would agree with that.
It's got so many fucks. Yeah. I mean, how is Otis not everyone's favorite? That's my question. Like I said, he's kind of charismatic, and he does have the Charlie thing going on. I don't know. I think this is just obviously this is the peak for Rob Zombie. Everything else has gone straight downhill from there. The little hiccup with Three from Hell, in my opinion. But let's talk. What do you guys think? What are your thoughts on the Devil's Rejects?
It's my favorite of the three, as we've already mentioned. But
is it your favorite of the seven?
Probably, yeah.
It's the best of all.
I would say yes.
I think he's made 7 movies. I could be wrong on that number.
I think it's like 7 or 8, something like that. If you count the animated movie he made.
I don't. That was.
I didn't even finish that one.
I had
a joke with my wife because I was watching it yesterday. She was there watching. I said, "You know what this movie is? This is the most demented remake of The Empire Strikes Back that's ever been made." Because there's a parallel. The Empire Strikes Back, starts with the rebels being invaded by the Empire and their base. This movie starts with them and their base being invaded by the government, all that coming in, and then they find sanctuary in some black dude's place who betrays them and turns them over to the Empire. It's just business, baby.
God, his character is great.
Ken Faree, gotta love him.
Ken Faree, yeah.
He was a great addition to the movie with the cast. I mean, I love him in everything he's done.
Yeah.
That I've seen him in anyway. He's a very good actor.
The sheriff in it's really good too.
Waddell is. I think we mentioned this. To me, that's Rob Zombie's best written character. Like
we're talking about.
We can talk about his writing. Yeah, Forsyth. Sheriff Waddell, I think it's his best character that he's created and written for.
Yeah, there's a lot of things about him. I hated him in that movie. I absolutely hated not the actor, the character. Like this is again, you're trying. I'm hoping for the Fireflies to get away. I hated this son of a bitch. He was tracking them down, and then he got them, and then he's torturing them. I hated him so much. I hated him more in this than I hated him in Halloween when he.
No, I don't know. Ronnie was awful. Ass, man. I love William Forsythe's one of my favorite actors, so I was all about it. I think it's one of his. I really liked it because I'm a fan of his. I mean, I'm going back to like Raising Arizona and Once Upon a Time in America and all that. My favorite is actually Career Opportunities, where he plays a janitor briefly. He's hilarious in that movie. But I
missed that movie.
And the Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead is another one that a lot of people haven't seen. He's great.
He's an unappreciated actor. I mean, he's like a character actor almost.
But I think Waddell is because Rob. Let's face it, Rob's writing is not great. That's his weakness. Like I think he has a great film in him if he worked for somebody else's script. Someone else's writing, because his writing, I've always felt that it's like he's trying to be Quentin Tarantino when he writes, and he's just not.
Like 8 times today. I literally heard that a bunch today. That's awesome.
It is. I mean, it really is, and like he
True.
uses, yeah. And it feels, but the thing is, Quentin just has an ear for it. It just flows. It's lyrical. But with Rob, it feels forced, and sometimes the deliveries feel forced, where they're just like walking by saying dirty words and dirty jokes that aren't funny and don't make any sense. Tiny fuck the stump. What is it? Tiny fuck the fruity. I mean, it's like all this stuff. Like, what is that? Like the worst is I think in that 31 where there's like things, but there's these conversations and they don't feel organic. They feel like
They say motherfucker way too many times.
Yeah, there's just like motherfucker you, motherfucker you. Oh yeah, motherfucker. I'm gonna kill you. And it's like
that's not realistic.
It doesn't feel real. And that's what it is. It feels like he's like, all right, I need a scene here and I need to write dialogue for it. That's what it feels like. Whereas Quentin doesn't write that way. Quentin's dialogue feels like it has purpose, even when it doesn't. Because it's not. But like it just feels like characters are talking to fill the spot, the time that that scene's taking place, and there's a lot of motherfucker in there, or sex talk, or some dirty joke, or something that where it becomes like there's no point to that. Like that, it doesn't. It feels phony.
And it almost like blends the characters together because they're all kind of talking the same instead of having
they're all
their
trashy
own character.
Yeah, they're all 14-year-old boys talking.
Well, I'm pretty sure that 3 from Hell was written by a 13-year-old boy. There's a lot of the dialogue, like Dee Wallace delivers a lot of the bad dialogue in that movie, like snitches get stitches, bitch.
Yeah.
A lot of that kind of thing. A lot of kind of like one-liner type deliveries of like everyone's talking in these trailer line moments or something like that. Or, I'm the devil, bitch, or like kind of. It's like this keeps. It just feels. It doesn't flow. It just doesn't work, and that's where his weakness is. But Wydell has some of the best dialogue he's ever written. I think he's torturing them, and he said, we are playing on a level that most will never see. My granddaddy rode with the likes of Tom Horn, hunting scum like you down. We've always been devil slayers. I mean, there's really good shit in there.
Well, it's not just him though. The entire movie. I wonder if he had somebody there to help him with dialogue, because a lot of the things that Otis says, a lot of the things that Captain Spaulding say. I mean, some of the weird shit between Spaulding and Ken Foree's character it's pretty decent dialogue, and there is some garbage in there too. But like, although I do really like the story, the guy, Banjo and whatever, and talking about
Banjo Sullivan.
Yeah,
Johnny Cash shook my hand.
Shook my hand.
I love Jeffrey Lewis, man. That guy's so good. I always liked him.
I really like Wydell's like introduction in the beginning of the movie, like just all the shit he's rambling off to his deputy that I cannot even remember, but was awesome and hilarious at the same time.
We call a little bit of Alabama whoop ass.
Yeah.
The best Wydell thing was whenever he was talking to the guy, the film expert, about the name.
God, that scene is just so out of place.
And he says one bad thing about Elvis Presley, he loses his fucking mind.
What did you say about the king?
Say about the king. Which is one more derogatory thing about Aaron Presley.
Yeah.
Shit out of you.
That scene drove my fiance crazy. She was like, "What the hell's happening? They're looking for murderers. Why are we having a dick competition? What's happening?"
That's why I liked and hated his character. He's like trying to hunt these people down for vengeance, for blood, and then you don't badmouth. He's looking for his brother, right? His brother. Yeah. But you say one bad thing about Elvis Presley, he's gonna kill this motherfucking guy. It's like, come on, motherfucker. Bitch.
I feel like that scene would have been better if it wasn't in the heat of looking for the killers. Like,
that scene was perfect. There's no
well, not the scene, but like the Elvis thing. Like, I could see his character doing that, but not in the middle of like him seriously trying to like find these killers that killed his brother.
I think it was perfectly placed, perfectly timed, because it was great. It's one of the most memorable moments of that movie for me. It's like, what the fuck? But it kind of gives it a little bit of realism, because I think I have done something like, not Elvis Presley, but like, and been in the middle of something serious and somebody says something like, what the fuck did you just say? Like, out of nowhere.
And it gives him that great fuck Groucho.
Fuck Groucho.
Because that's what he signed on my, I got his autograph like 10 years ago, and that's what he wrote on there. And I love the other line I love is where he's talking to the Charles Manson actor, Steve Railsback. He's talking about his deputy having diarrhea or whatever. You want to? He says, "You want to spare me all more details about your deputy's asshole?"
See, I think there was a lot of good writing in this one versus any of his. I think he, pardon the expression, but blew his load on this movie, where the other ones kind of got shat on. As far, I mean, like, I don't know what happened when it comes to. I like Lords of Salem, I do, but like, I thought it was a really good movie up to the last like 10 minutes or so, where she starts going fucking nuts on the goat. Am I the only person who saw that?
I need to rewatch it for Thursday show. I
haven't seen it in a while.
It was good up until that point, and then 31 was just. I lost interest in that one fast. I need to rewatch it.
It's definitely his best writing is in Rejects.
Yeah, absolutely, and it has a. I mean,
I love Easterbrook. Leslie Easterbrook, greatest replacement. Like I Karen Black was good in the first one, but
I loved her so much in Police Academy.
Leslie is so fucking good in this.
Yeah, she was a lot better.
Yeah.
And I was wondering why they decided to recast her, because Karen Black was still alive at the time when
Karen wanted too much money. He wanted to hire.
They got somebody who looked exactly like her. She did. I mean, they looked very much. And Karen in the first movie, you didn't get that much of her, versus the Devil's Rejects. The whole scene with him interrogating her, and then very good stuff. There's a lot of intense moments.
They got some great scenes together in the jail cell, and again, anytime Forsyth was in the room with those characters, like when he's torturing the rejects and he's stapling the pictures of their victims onto their body. I mean, it's fucking great. That's a great scene. He's nailing. I mean, it's a great torture scene to see these pieces of shit getting, beat up by another piece of shit. But just the level that he's doing. I love the whole idea of stapling the images of the people they've murdered, their victims. That was a great idea. It's one of his moments where he did something I thought, and something I noticed watching this movie, like the what he was going for in this film were 60s and 70s Western, like the Wild Bunch, Bonnie and Clyde, Badlands. Those were the big influences on this film.
Yeah,
sure.
And I started to notice a lot of parallels with the Wild Bunch is my favorite Western. And I started to notice a lot of Wild Bunch in this and in Three from Hell. The opening with the freeze framing, that's totally Peckinpah. That's Wild Bunch. And I love that, where she puts the gun to her head, "You ain't getting me," and it freeze frames, and the music starts, the Midnight Rider by Allman Brothers, which, again, fantastic soundtrack. I love that opening with the Midnight Rider.
And it's the perfect song for the opening too.
Perfect, and then the use of the Terry Reid's music in there, which I didn't know who Terry Reid, but I was glad to discover him through this movie, because he's great. And I didn't realize that he was like supposed to be the original singer of Led Zeppelin.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And his music's great, and of course the finale with Freebird playing.
Freebird for like 6 minutes. That's the entire song.
It's a great choice. But like I saw the Wild Bunch in it a lot from the freeze framing, but mostly in the new one where, the end of the Wild Bunch is, when they're in Mexico and they decide to go face their fate and go take on the Mexican army.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of they're in a whorehouse. They've been fucking all these women, and then they decide, let's go. Only difference is, while he's emulating Peckinpah and these things, the Wild Bunch had much more going on.
Yeah.
There's more there. There's even a shot in Three from Hell where we see a bunch of ants on the ground crawling around with a leaf. I'm like, well, in the beginning of the Wild Bunch, there's some kids playing with ants. They get a scorpion, and the ants basically are eating or attacking the scorpion, and the kids are laughing about it, which was, had a message. There was a point for it to be there, other than Rob just threw it in there as an homage, but there was no point to it. And that's what I felt like. The only point you get is where in Three from Hell, and I know we're jumping to that, is where I think Otis is talking about Cutter and remembering Sid Haig's character and thinking about him and saying there's still a lot of destruction we can do out there. Like, it's almost like they're they're kind of talking like in the Wild Bunch, where because the Wild Bunch is about aging gunslinger outlaw criminals who are living in a time where the old West is dying, it's gone, everything's advanced, and so Otis is kind of talking like their time has passed. What are we going to do? It's just me and you now, baby. And there's just the two of us. And he's like, I think there's still some chaos that we can create out there. We can still fuck more shit up, But it doesn't hold as well as there were these outlaws who realize that time has run out for them. Their way is over, and they're going to go out and they're going to rescue Angel and like stand by their brother and go do this. That if I wish he had done that with this movie. If he's going to go full blow, I wish the rejects had died at the end of this new one. I think that would have been. I would have loved to have seen the Mexicans kill them, and they just disappear and like no one knows. Like just maybe they feed their bodies to the pigs or something. Like it's just that's how they end. They die somewhere no one knows in a nowhere town in Mexico. Because they fucked with the wrong people because of their arrogance and because of their, like, you're nobody here. You just walked into a snake pit, and you're just like the Wild Bunch. The Wild Bunch were deadly, dangerous people, but they went and took on an army, and they die, in a bloody, violent way. But they did die for a reason.
Yeah.
Wild Bunch.
Now we're gonna get the town of 1,000 corpses.
Let this be the end. I want to get Seth's views on. Well, I want to see more original material from Rob Zombie beyond 31. Something different. Something if he's going to make any more movies, I don't want him to have to go back to the rejects again because I am interested every time he makes a movie. I'm not a huge fan or anything like that, but I am interested in what he does because I do, like you said, I do think he has another really good one in him. And I think Lord of Salem was good.
I think he's been pigeonholed. I think
probably
Lord of Salem was good, and I liked it because it was moving in another direction.
Mm-hmm.
But ever since then, I think it felt like he's taken a step back.
Yeah.
And doing the same shit, and I think it's because he can't get where he wants. He's a film fan. He doesn't just want to make horror movies. He wants to make other films. He tried to make the hockey film. He wants to make crime films. But I feel like this third movie was made because that's what he could get funded and what people will support. Because it wasn't 31. Like he was trying to get the hockey movie made, and he went in and said he just threw out 31 like off the cuff, like let's make a movie like this. And they go, that sounds great. Let's make that. It was a joke. It was like So it's like. Sometimes that's how it is. Like that's what people know. That's what people will invest in you, and you just can't get the project that you really give a shit about made. That's not just Rob Zombie. That's everybody. Martin Scorsese took like 20 years to get Silence made. That was a movie he wanted to make for years. It took him another 10 to make Irishman.
Well, it's a lot of it has to do with fan bases too. I mean, fan bases wanted to see the Devil's Rejects come back, and that's an issue, but. We'll talk about that. The fandom is a weird place, but I do want to get Seth's views on the Devil's Rejects for sure because he brought some things up in the chat yesterday. So why don't you take the floor, my friend?
Yeah, I mean,
okay, you're done. So the
end. All right.
Yeah, the end.
No, yeah. So what I was really impressed with it when I saw it in the theater was the fact that it was so different than House of 1,000 Corpses. It had its own feel, its own style, its own tone. And like you said, you don't have to see House of 1,000 Corpses to enjoy The Devil's Rejects. It is, it it does help if you do see it. Personally, I like the experience of watching them in order. Because what he does with the Devil's Rejects is he kind of just flips the whole narrative. So in 1,000 Corpses, it was this group of people who are our protagonist coming across the Firefly family, and then in the Devil's Rejects, you get from the perspective of the Firefly family. And the guy who is supposed to be the hero of the movie, the one who's against them, is the villain of the movie, and you get to know the characters a little bit more. There's a couple of revelations in there, like uh, Cutter Spalding being Baby's father, and the way that that was kind of handled, it kind of seemed natural. It wasn't like this big surprise moment where he drew a lot of attention to it. It was just her on the phone saying "Daddy, they're coming" or something like that.
That's something I'm gonna let you go on, but that's something I'm curious about is how the family's tied together. I'd really love to figure that out one day. Go ahead, keep going.
Yeah. I forgot what I was gonna say. But yeah, it's
Sorry about that.
the revelations of the film, what it exposed, like the
yeah. Well, and I mean, even with Wydell too, the way that that was handled. If you haven't seen A Thousand Corpses in a while, that's probably not a name you're gonna remember. And then it's like what halfway through the film, and when it's revealed that that's the brother of the guy that got killed in House of a Thousand Corpses, and I just really like that aspect. I was also a little disappointed not to see Fish Boy. Like especially when they're walking through the house, or even in the first one, there's the creature from the Black Lagoon mural on the wall.
Oh yeah.
That was pretty cool. And then I liked yeah, I mean, like you were mentioning earlier with Empire Strikes Back, there's a lot of parallels, not only to the story but to just how effective that movie was as a sequel that could stand on its own, that doesn't try to mimic what came before. I think a lot of people when they make sequels, they say, "Oh, we're making the Empire Strikes Back of blah 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 franchise," and they don't really seem to understand what made Empire so great and so different from A New Hope. And it seemed like Rob Zombie kind of did. He took his characters to the next level, and it was a completely different story. And he didn't repeat himself. There's no scenes that were similar. Um, and I'm just rambling here, but I just really enjoyed that.
Waited for Three from Hell to do that, by the way. So.
But yeah, I really enjoy that movie as a sequel. It and every time I go to watch it, I forgot how much I actually enjoy that movie. When we were talking about how we're going to be talking about Rob Zombie's movies, I'm like, not in the mood right now. Yeah, but then I watch them and then I enjoy them, and like last night I watched Devil's Rejects, and I'm like, man, I forgot how fucking good this movie is. It's definitely his best movie out of all that he's made.
Yeah, I think that's an absolute. I don't think anybody on Facebook watching and kind of hanging out with us. What is your favorite Rob Zombie movie? Let us know. We're dying to know.
One thing I talk about that hostage scene, because that is a big thing. Like you talked about how Bill had a lot of trouble getting through that scene when he was with him and Priscilla Barnes, and
just how forceful he was and stuff.
Yeah, like just the extremity of it. I mean, a lot of that feels like Last House. A lot of things like when you got these victims and you're making them do stuff. I think Baby makes one of them like punch her or hit her, that type of stuff.
Yeah,
which
Cocker.
yeah, and stuff like so. That felt like that. But like one line made that always got me, and he goes back to something we talked about before. Seth was talking about the home invasion movies, and he was talking about his frustration with funny games and how the dad didn't do anything. And I remember when Lou Temple's trying to like stop Otis, he puts the guns like, "What the fuck are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?" Like, yeah, what are you gonna do against me? I'll kill you. Like, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna be a hero? And that's a terrifying line. What are you going to do? I love that moment because it's a terrifying thing. Like, what are you going to do, motherfucker?
He gets the cliches out of the way.
Charles Manson's in the house. He's got a gun at you. What are you going to do? So that dynamic of what can I do? Like, that's the thing. Like, and that's the part. Otis knows me doing this to your wife in front of you is hurting you more than anything else I can do to you or anybody else. So he knows that, and they're playing with him. So that was it's a hard scene. I liked this movie when it came out. I think it also goes back to something Seth wrote about how we change as we get older and watching these movies. I feel different about this film. Like, it is very ugly. It's a very, very ugly movie. Very disgusting, filthy. And Rob's all in on it, you know? And you gotta give him credit, he's all in on it. And there's a lot of filmmakers who do these things, they don't do them as well as he does them. If anything, like, if people could talk shit about his filmmaking, say he sucks, whatever. I don't think he sucks. I just think some of the choices he makes, which comes down to everything. All right. Yes, he's got the white trash thing. We'll get kicked off just to say that. But he's got.
Come on now.
He's got the, you know, the foul language, the extreme violence, all this stuff. But you don't have to like that. I don't know what I'm trying to say. He's making the movie he wants to make, and he's all in for it. No apologies. And you either like it or you don't. And that's the thing. It's like, you don't have to like this. It doesn't have to be your thing. And one thing I really liked, and I think I wrote down the review, is I remember Roger Ebert liked this movie. I remember watching the review and I'm like, seriously? And I remember, I think Siskel was still alive maybe at the time, and I think Siskel was like, really? Like, he was shocked. And Roger said, for the type of movie he's making, I think it's really good. And that's what he said in his review. He said, I think this movie, if you can get past the disgusting part of it and the vile part of it, and if you're a fan of that type of thing, this is a good one. This is actually a really good one. And he goes, there's some good writing, there's some good storytelling in this, there's some good filmmaking in this. If you get past that, if you can get past that, other people, some people who don't like it, some people who don't or do. He goes, but if you can get past it, this is a good one. So I agree. I think for the type of movie he was making, it's one of the better ones out there. It's not just shitty exploitation for the sake of it. I think Rob does have his own. He views the world differently than a lot of us do. I know he grew up on a carnival, I believe, is what I read, and his family left the carnival because there was a riot that broke out, and he saw people getting their faces smashed and beat up when he was a kid right in front of him. So he's seen people like this. He's heard people talk like this. This is how people behave this way. And that's the thing. It's like, I've never seen that world, not myself. So maybe this is just how he views it. So, like, okay, maybe Laurie Strode shouldn't be a potty mouth, the character, but if that's how he sees people, then that's the thing about art, though. It's like, people want everything to cater to them, and that's kind of boring. It's good to see other perspectives and see how other people view things and how other people translate things. So you either like Rob or you don't. And I think, again, he doesn't give a shit if you don't or not.
Yeah, and well, I mean, even with, I understand where not everyone likes Rob Zombie's style. It's not for everyone, and there's plenty of people who just don't like it, and that's fine. But I think a lot of this has to do with the same sort of effect with fandom that Rian Johnson's kind of currently having, where, you know, you do a movie that's part of a franchise that the fans don't like, and it's fuck you forever, pretty much. You know, after you did Halloween.
Okay. It is. It's
Halloween.
It's
although I heard Knives Out is actually good.
Right. Well, exactly. With Rian Johnson, you know, you got fans who are saying that they'll never watch another one of his movies. They'll protest his movies, and they're missing out. And watch it.
No,
right?
I'm joking. I want to see Knives Out. I'm joking.
Yeah, but it was like that with Rob with Halloween, because I mean, not everyone liked his Halloween movie, and I understand, but fans can be pretty rabid, you know.
Yeah. It started with Halloween. You're right.
Yeah, I hated Halloween, but I came back for the other ones. It's just that I think part of my problem, not with Halloween in general, is the fact that I don't think Halloween was the right movie for him to make. And I know he did his own thing and did it, whatever. I respect what he did because he did what he wanted to, for the most part. He had certain freedoms, I'm sure. Anyway, I don't think the Halloween remake was the one for him, and I didn't like it. I was very excited going into seeing that movie, like really excited, because I liked The Devil's Rejects and House, before that. But I hated the remakes with a passion. As one of two times I've left the theater pissed off within a calendar year. The next time was The Dark Knight. Yep. I'm a huge Batman fan too. Anyway,
well, another reason
furious.
Another reason that Rob is hated, that catches hate, is anytime a filmmaker is a celebrity.
Oh yeah,
they're fucked. If you're in your movies, or you were somebody famous before you started making movies. Rob was a big musician, and now he's moving into film making. There's a prejudice. There's a resentment there.
I do think
if you star in your movie, Kevin Smith, Quentin Tarantino, Eli Roth, Adam Green, any of these guys, Jordan Peele, any of these people who are celebrities or become aren't always behind the camera just making their movie, they are a target. They become a target. Like Hitchcock was not taken seriously by a lot of film critics because of his being a personality, being on a television series, doing the cameos and all. They thought he was a Schlockmeister. Only in hindsight did they realize that they're filmmakers and film people like, dude, this guy was fucking everything to us. Like he is an innovator. He was someone that we should all emulate. He's one of the greatest filmmakers of all time. But there were a lot of people who saw him as a hack. Now, I'm not saying Rob's one of those guys at all.
Well,
but
he's got a big ass fan base, though.
Oh yeah, and that comes with it there.
Yeah, he has a huge fan base.
He's like Kevin Smith of horror, because Kevin Smith.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
Kevin Smith has his audience. He knows who he's selling to, and he says, "I don't need to sell to everybody. I'll sell to my niche, the people who like me." Why can't Kevin Smith be Kevin Smith
of horror? He's made horror movies now.
He's another guy doing whatever he wants to do. He makes the
good. More people should do that. That's probably why. That's another reason why I don't like Halloween as much as I do. I like Rob Zombie. Again, Rian Johnson the same way. Their original content. I love I keep saying it. The Devil's Rejects. I love Lords of Salem. 31, not so much. I don't know if that movie ever needed to be made, but I've liked pretty much everything he's made. I think he could be a really good. I do think he has another good one in him, as we said. Let's move on to 3 from Hell, and we're going to be short on 3 from Hell because I want to talk about it before we go. So 3 from Hell came out last year. And it was super anticipated by the fandom, except for Keith, apparently. Or Seth, sorry. You two motherfuckers. Anyway. Well, you're always right next to each other on my screen. And anyway.
THs.
Yeah, THs. TH1 and TH2. Guess which is which. So, like, I didn't need to see another one because the ending of The Devil's Rejects was superb. The only thing that I wanted to see was more Otis, and I got that. And the thing is, he becomes extremely likable in the 3 from Hell movie, in my opinion. He seems like a relatively normal person, even though he blasts some dude in the head, and the Night Wolf or Midnight Wolf or whatever has to get bone chunks out or skull chunks out of his eyelid. I love that scene.
I like it's kind of like when you take. Yeah. It's kind of like when you take like Fonzie and make him the star of Happy Days. Like he should be supported by he should be a supporting. When you've got the guy that's this big personality and he's the guy you're following, you can't you can't relate to him. You have to have someone you can relate to. So, and but like even as crazy as Sid or and I mean that's the thing we got to look at too is that Sid Haig was supposed to be a big part of this film.
Instead, they brought Richard Brake in. And
well, Rob had so much. He said he had this movie planned more than anything he'd ever planned before, and it all rotated on Sid and Bill and Sherry. And then he went and saw Sid and how sick he was.
Yeah.
And realized, fuck, I got to rewrite this entire film right now, and I've got all these plans to do this. So we didn't get the movie that he really wanted to make, and he also had half the budget that he had in Rejects. And
is that why it looked like it was in the 70s? Because he had half the.
Yeah, we got to talk about that, the timeline here, because like Rejects is in 78, and this is supposed to be 10 years after, so this is supposed to be 88.
Yeah.
news and
The
warden
warden has the
especially.
curly Q mustache, the big glasses like from the set. He looks like a porn star.
But the thing bothers me most about that is it's completely Tommy Lee Jones in Natural Born Killers. So there's so much parallels to Natural Born Killers.
Yeah.
He's basically Tommy Lee Jones from that movie with the wild hair and the leisure suits. Or
Well, that movie, there's a lot of that movie reminds me of Natural Born Killers. I mean,
Yeah.
that scene that I was talking about at the beginning reminds me of the scene towards the end where with Mickey and Mallory with Robert Downey Jr. It almost reminded me of that a little bit, and in a way, not it, but you know, two different characters, different scenario. Yeah, but it played a lot. Like for some reason, when I watched it, that's what I thought of immediately was that scene in Natural Born Killers.
It's totally Natural Born Killers. I mean, the Free the Three. I mean, Free Mickey and Mallory.
Yeah,
they're celebrities. They are, and a lot of Mickey was based. And Mickey's whole speech is based on Manson. There's a lot of Manson stuff in there.
It's a movie I haven't seen in a long time. Yeah, that's a good movie too. Is that a horror movie?
I would
what do you
say.
guys think?
I wouldn't say
no.
This movie, there's some moments. Some of the most stuff I like in Free from Hell is Baby. I love in the slow motion when they're bringing her into the cell and they're playing Susie Quattro's I'm the Wild One. That's a great moment. And I love the one where the guy's in the end and she's hiding up above and she's got the bow and arrow.
Yeah.
And they're playing the Inagata-Davida.
I didn't even fucking see her there until it showed the second scene part. And I was like, I did not see her at all.
Nice Iron Butterfly reference.
Yeah.
No, I shock you. I wasn't expecting to like 3 from Hell because literally when it came out, all I heard was people complaining about the fucking movie.
Because it wasn't what they wanted.
But after watching it, like I was surprised of what it was. Like I really enjoyed it. I think I like it more than House. But I think it's more just because it's not just a crazy fucking movie. It has something that's following and
it's very similar to Devil's Rejects in many ways, in my opinion.
Yeah. Too much.
And it becomes more of a Western overall.
I think that's why I liked it.
Yeah, I don't think I would almost say this is the least horror movie of all his movies, in my opinion. But not that that's a bad thing. I liked it. Well, the first time I watched it, I remember thinking, well, that was a movie. You know, I couldn't really think about it. And the next time I watched it, I was like, you know, I'm starting to see that this is more of a Western, not because of where they are at the end and the shootout and all that, but that's total Western. Am I wrong?
It
is.
The shootout in the town, that's a total Western.
It's the Wild Bunch.
Wild Bunch, yeah.
It's the Wild Bunch, man. And I also I forgot the other scene I love is when Sherry kills the girl in the front yard and that old lady is watching.
Yeah.
And she goes, "Hi, Granny."
Yeah.
Some old hag saw me stab that guy, so we gotta go.
You know, as much as I love Bill Moseley as Otis and Otis being the best part, I do think, and the reason I said that she gets more annoying at the top of the show as it goes on is she does, but at the same time,
she's good at it.
They're very good at it. That's her.
I don't think she does. I think it's in reverse order. I think she's way over the top in House of a Thousand Corpses.
I think
she's fucking.
I think she's more over the top in House.
She's
just
way.
Because
I don't know.
I think it's more the voice. She's like.
It's how high pitched her voice and laugh is.
Yeah.
I don't know. My point is, I like her very much in these movies. I'm not one of the people who hates Sherry Moon being in Rob Zombie's movies, except for Halloween. We'll get to that in October. But I do like her in this role, and I really hope this is it for her as far as any. Although when Rob Zombie makes another movie, she'll find a way in that movie, I'm sure. But I don't know. I like Otis and I love Baby, I love their characters in these movies, and both of them on the screen at the same time. Like the stuff in the jailhouse, I could care less about, but them two together is always gold to me because they're like a brother and a sister, and they bicker like a brother and a sister. And adding another brother figure to that movie with Richard Brake's character was very interesting because he kind of
I don't think I wouldn't say brother.
He's a half.
Well, he's his half brother.
Was he half brother?
Yeah, they said
Half-brother.
He's half brother.
Well, I mean, because they don't treat him like part of the family. They don't.
They treat him like a redheaded stepchild.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the best. What I was going to say is one of the things I like about it is the way that Otis treats him in the movie.
What's
he treats him like the little brother he didn't want.
It's like it's just the two of us, and he's like, "There's three of us."
Yeah, he's like, "What am I, fucking invisible over here?"
But that it's unfortunate that Sid couldn't do it because I don't think the Foxy character. There's a lack of chemistry between the three. And I think maybe because Brake he's almost like Bizarro Mosley in many ways, like for Rob.
Yeah.
Like he became Rob's new Bill Mosley in 31,
but not as good.
Not as good, but yeah. I mean, not to take anything away from Brake because Brake's great, but in this movie, he feels like he's just what he is, which is a substitute.
He's a third
wheel. Yeah.
Yeah.
He wasn't totally not welcome though. There were times that I liked him, but like you could feel that he wasn't supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Our friend Chris Hall just chimed in through Messenger. I guess he can't comment because the white throughout. He says, "Sorry to bother you during the show. I know this is our private message, Chris, but I'm gonna say it anyway." He says, "Something has to be said about how great her relationship, Baby's relationship, was with the little guy and
Sebastian."
Yeah,
I love Sebastian.
Absolutely.
I put a note there. That guy's really good in that scene too.
Yes,
he's so fun.
Yes.
I love it when he's just.
Seth, do you want to see
Baby.
3 from Hell? You ready to see it yet? After all this talking, Seth, you ready to see it?
Yeah, a little bit. I got it. It's coming from Amazon. So
I had to end up renting it. I couldn't get it here in time.
It's worth a watch.
I've been a little stubborn on it. I got it for Christmas Blu-ray, but it was like a Region B, so I wouldn't play my player. And then I was just like, you know what? I don't even care.
Region.
I like the ending. I like the ending of Rejects that much.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's like Halloween Resurrection. It ruined a great ending. Like Halloween H2O had a great ending.
Halloween Resurrection's canon. It goes Halloween, Halloween Resurrection, and Halloween 2018. Boom. I fixed it for everybody.
Oh, check your math there.
No, so Sebastian's great, and I love the scene with him and Baby eating breakfast and stuff. It's just
getting him stoned.
Yeah, it's just a fun, like, just human
I feel
moment.
weird.
Yeah, he's like, I feel weird. She's like, well, that means it's working.
I think one of my biggest disappointments of it was that Bill Oberst didn't have a better part in the film.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Bill plays the hunter who just gets killed by Otis like that. But Bill, I mean, people aren't. I mean, I gotta imagine.
It was a good scene, though.
Yeah, it's a great scene. But like Bill Oberst is like, if anyone hasn't seen like Billy Pond's Circus of the Dead, he plays a character called Papa Corn in there that should be much more famous and more known than any like that.
Hey, but Billy's trying really hard.
Oh, Billy tries all the time.
He's trying really hard.
And people should check out Circus of the Dead. And if you like Rob Zombie's films,
I think you get copies at ScreamTeamReleasing.com of Circus of the Dead. Go ahead.
Yeah, if you like Rob Zombie's films and you like this stuff, I mean, Billy's film is kind of
it's a better 31 than 31.
Yeah, it's in there. And again, Bill Oberst gives a fearless, frightening performance as Papa Corn. And when I heard he was cast in 3 from Hell, I went, oh God, my mind just went like, oh, Rob's discovered Bill, and Bill's gonna have this he's gonna be one of the members of the Firefly family or something, and like
he should have been the role Richard Brake got.
He should. Yeah, I would have loved to see.
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Maybe the next movie. Maybe Rob will bring him back because I talked to Bill. Bill was going to be in one of my films. I talked to Bill, and I assumed that he talked to Rob quite a bit. And he said that Rob was very, very detailed and very knows his shit and very serious. He's a real true artist. And if anybody knows Bill is a fantastic artist, real smart, talented guy. But that was one of my like I was just upset that like I was expecting Bill to have a meteor or more screen time. I was like, yeah, he's working with Rob and he's a perfect fit for Rob Zombie.
He is.
And hopefully we'll see him in something. next.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
His scene was good, though, I think.
Can we talk about Clint Howard's little cameo?
I kind of felt it was pointless.
Mr. Baggy Britches. It was.
I don't even know why the fuck he even showed up there.
I'm pretty sure Otis called him.
Maybe he did, yeah, for entertainment.
He was like, the entertainment's arrived. I'm pretty sure Otis just called him, for the fuck's sakes.
We need a clown here.
But why? But it worked. It was just a plot device because they took his van.
They took his van, yeah.
Plus, Otis needed a laugh.
Plus, taking that
laugh. That was a good scene too.
Yeah.
You gonna let me go now? He's like, straight to clown heaven.
So maybe it should be final thoughts. It's 9 o'clock.
Final thoughts. Let's do final thoughts, and we're gonna touch on the Joe Bob thing. Final thoughts of the this series, and remember Thursday we're gonna cover 31 and Lords of Salem. So, Keith, you get 6 words. Go.
6 words.
You failed. Jared, 6 words.
Jared said
just
no.
Final thoughts, real quickly. Go ahead, Keith.
No, I for the most part like all 3 of these movies. House is confusing and weird, but it's still fun as shit. Devil's Rejects is, like we've all said, is the best. I really do like the Blaze of Glory ending. Even though 3 of Hell changes that, I still really enjoyed 3 of Hell because I like Western movies, and it just feels like a Western movie.
Big time.
So it's fun. I feel like, Seth, you haven't watched it yet. I would say almost just watch it as its own thing. Like don't worry about anything. Just watch it for entertainment value. Then
I think Seth will like it. Actually,
I think he will. It's an entertaining movie. Like, it does its job. It's not a terrible movie or anything.
Okay, that's more than 6 words.
Okay.
Jared, what about you? Final thoughts.
3 from Hell was a fun movie, but I honestly thought everything should have ended with the end of the Bonnie and Clyde ending of Devil's Rejects.
Yeah.
Like, just that 6-7 minute scene, like slow motion, like it should have just ended.
Okay. Seth, do you have any final thoughts on the 2 from Hell?
The 2 from Hell.
I get 6 words. Yeah, no, I like them. I like. Rob Zombie's movies aren't ones that I can watch a lot and over. I have to have some sort of distance when I watch them, but I do enjoy them. I was much more of a fan, when I was younger, and I was excited for 1,000 Corpses, and I was excited for Devil's Rejects, and I don't know. He's not a bad filmmaker.
No,
but he, like, Nate was saying, and like I've been saying for a while, just it'd be so much better if he had a writer that, or someone that he could trust, because I think Rob does have a lot of brilliant ideas in his movies, especially with Halloween 2, which we'll talk in October. But I feel like if he writes down all his ideas into a treatment and then gives it to someone he trusts to expand it, to fix dialogue, stuff like that, I think.
It's really the dialogue is what it is. It's just a bad dialogue.
Yeah. But Tutti fucking Frutti.
Apparently, I've been holding that against them for years, but apparently that was a Sid Haig ad lib.
Really?
Yeah, the Tutti fucking Frutti thing.
Tutti fucking Frutti. That's a great scene, though. The 3 of them together in the van and arguing like a regular family on a field.
It does. You see like a little bit of humanity on Bill Moseley too. Like he kind of smiles a little bit.
Yeah, we're not fucking stopping.
There's no fucking ice cream in your future.
It's a great. That's probably one of the better scenes in that entire movie. I think it's full of great scenes. Nate, what about final thoughts for you?
My final thoughts are, as far as Rob Zombie, I've done enough horror conventions where I've seen legions of people standing in line to meet all these people from all of his films, and they're there to meet him because of these films.
Yeah.
He gave Sid Haig and Bill Moseley careers, because Bill, chop on it, but Sid had left acting in 1992, quit because he's tired of playing bad guys, and then Quentin wanted him back for Marcellus Wallace and Pulp Fiction, and he turned it down because I can't remember what it was. He didn't want to do it, but came back in Jackie Brown and Kill Bill, and then he did this with Rob in 2000, which I guess was before Kill Bill. But would people be talking about Sid Haig as much? Even though he did all the blaxploitation movies and
they
the Bond movie and all that,
he gave him a second lease on life.
He made him a fucking icon. And although Sid had done a lot of things in his life, he was a successful guy, but he was.
I get that, but let me say this: if he wouldn't have made these movies, Sid Haig, I wouldn't have an autograph of him giving me the bird saying "fuck your mama." So anyway,
yeah, like they and that's the thing I want to hit on here is that we grew up, or at least we all grew up in a time where, well, not Keith, Keith's a kid.
Thanks, Dad.
We grew up. You're welcome, son. We grew up in a time where horror icons were the thing. Freddy, Jason, Michael, Leatherface, Pinhead, Chucky. We kept getting them, and they've stayed. They've had lasting power. But today, in the last 20 years, doesn't happen. But with the Firefly family, Rob gave us icons. The biggest icon since probably Ghostface.
Oh yeah, Captain Spaulding.
Captain Spaulding and Otis and Baby are horror movie icons.
Yes,
they are huge. I dressed up as Otis for Halloween when my wife was Baby one year. That's how we did that.
Where are the pictures?
I gotta find them because it's like 2005 or whatever.
I'll send one of my friends dressed up as a Captain Spaulding. He's got a picture of a naked Tracy Lords on his shirt. It's perfect. I'll send it to you guys. Go ahead.
That's the thing. When I look back at the last at least 25 years, since Ghostface, there's been icons or characters, but none as big as Captain Spaulding. He gave us these iconic characters that will forever be part of that collection. The Draculas, the Frankensteins, whether you like him or not, whether you like the movies or not, he's one of the only people who's able to do that. Where you got action figures at Walmart of Captain Spaulding. That's actually a really big achievement in this genre.
Oh, yeah, big time. Yeah. The Collector didn't even get an action figure, I think that's an episode, horror icons. We could do a whole episode on icons.
Skull didn't get an icon.
That's true. Do you have anything else, Nate, or did I cut you off?
No, that's it.
Okay. I like these three movies. They're very good. I can't wait I'm going to watch Lords of Salem tonight. Don't forget, we're going to talk about Lords of Salem 31 not tomorrow. Well, we could talk about tomorrow to ourselves or in the mirror if we wanted to, but on Thursday. So don't forget to join us on Thursday for sure. Real quick, if we got a few minutes, Nate, do you want to talk about what Joe Bob said?
Yeah.
Last Driving on Shudder.
A lot of people have been talking about what Joe Bob said at the end of this. What was the movie again?
One Cut
of the Dead, which was like a low budget
student film
thing. And Joe was talking about a lot of people make excuses of why not to make movies. I don't have a movie. I don't have money. I don't have the time. I don't have the connections. I don't have, and he's like, this bullshit. All right.
Aspiring filmmaker.
Yeah. Everybody's like, well, I'm an aspiring. He goes, every show I ever do, the guy comes up to me and says, I've always wanted to make a movie. And then he gives me 100 reasons why he doesn't make it. I don't have the money. My family, my friends roll their eyes every time I mention it. I don't have the time. I do this. I'm an aspiring filmmaker. Stop saying aspiring. Fuck aspiring. Today, when you wake up, you're a filmmaker. And if you got 5 minutes in the day, then put 5 minutes to working towards making your movie in that 5 minutes. And that's true. I've done enough shows where I've had the same thing. Ray, you're a comic book artist. I'm sure you've gotten those guys. Man, I've always wanted to do a comic book.
Not artist, but yeah.
Well, yeah,
I know what you mean.
You get those people who say, I wish I could do what you're doing. And you're like, didn't do it.
Yeah, I get questions every day on how I got started. Every day.
Yeah. Yeah. And people ask me, how did you? I just fucking did it. I got to the point where I said, I'm going to do this. And I did it. And I didn't need a lot of money. And you don't need all the time in the world. People say, I don't have enough time.
Not these days.
I got fucking 3 jobs and a family and all that. I do a lot of shit. I'm a filmmaker and an artist and a writer and you do it because you want to do it. And I think that's what separates it. But you have to take that step. And that's what he was talking about. And now we live in a time where you don't need all that money and you don't need $100,000 camera, and you don't need all this amazing software. There's stuff out there. There's resources. If you want to learn something, YouTube has a million resources. If I'm like working on a film, if I'm editing or wanting to figure out how to do this on my edit or how to do this special effect, I can go to YouTube and boom, right there. I'm getting a tutorial that I can follow and boom, I've done it. I've learned it. I don't have to go to film school. I don't have to do all these things. But he also stresses you're going to fail. You're going to fail. You're going to suck. You have to suck, write a script, rewrite it, because that's how it is. You need to fucking focus and learn and put all your energy towards it. But it can be done. Stop making excuses. That's basically what he was saying. Stop making excuses. Stop. You don't need to be in Hollywood. You don't need to be in New York. You don't need to go to USC or NYU. You have everything you need to do it. And you can. It's not about, oh, well, I don't have the money, or because you can do this stuff. And if you believe in it, you got a passion, it can be made. It can be done.
If you have a smartphone, you're set.
Pretty much. You can. And I mean, just look at the horror syndicate. We've always been big advocates for independent horror. Joe Bob said it at the end of the thing. Send him your movie when you're done. Send it to us. We'll watch it. We'll review it.
Joe Bob watched and reviewed my first movie, and he's not bullshitting you. I will watch it, and he says that at the end. I love it. He says, "Send me your movie. I can't wait to see it."
Yeah.
And most of us will, because most of us didn't know we wanted it till you made it, and that's true. We don't know, but everybody has something, especially with this quarantine right now. Everybody's got the fucking time mostly. Write your script, write your book, write your comment, no matter what it is, no matter what your art, whatever you want to do.
Anything.
You want to learn how to play a guitar. Whatever you want to do, fucking do it. Don't make excuses. You don't have to. And the thing is, it took me a long time to say, well, I'm an artist, because I work at UPS. I've been at UPS 24 years. I work there because I love my family and I want to take care. I want to have security. Yeah, I've been there as long as hell. But I work there because I want to take care of my family. I want to be secure. I want to be they're my priority. My art is not because art does take time and money, and you have to balance it, and it's hard. But if you want it, you can make it happen. You just have to fucking take that first step and get past all your, again, like you said, family and friends rolling their eyes. Fuck your family and friends, all right? Seriously, people do not take you seriously. When you live in a certain part of this country, they look at it like that's a dream. That's bullshit. You can't be a filmmaker. You can't be a comic book artist. You can't be, why are you reading that book? Are you in school or something? People are fucking stupid, and they don't have the aspirations and the dreams that you may have. Stop letting them control you.
Absolutely.
Keep you from making those steps because you're afraid of what they'll think or what they'll say. Fuck them. Who cares? Follow your dream. If you something you want to do it. And that's all he was saying. Is forget it. It can be done. I've made 7 films. I'm not rich, but I started meeting the right people, and people worked with me, and they got behind me. Like he said that too. If you build it, they will come. Build the dreams. It's not about baseball. It's about making films. He said, if you have the passion, they will come. They will help you. And it's true. I've had people come up to me. They work on my films, and I'm like, I can't believe how blessed I am that these people give a shit and want to help me, and are showing up to give me 12 hours a day in the heat and the cold and the ticks and shit everywhere to make a damn Star Wars fan film or whatever it is we're making. And they do it with a smile, and they come back the next day. And when I want to do something else, they're there.
Yeah, and I was going to say that a lot of people, he even mentioned all the best actors, just because you don't have the best actors in Hollywood, all the best actors are in your area. There are plenty of people who want to be in a movie. There are drama students who probably would jump at the chance of being in a movie. I mean, check the local college, even high schools if you need it. There are plenty of places. And one thing, like I said, I do get questions a lot about characters and development of comics and everything a lot, almost every day. It's not every day. And don't be afraid to reach out to people like Nate, for instance. I don't know why I started talking to you in the first place. I still don't. Wow, why am I talking to this guy? No, but I think I had a question about something that had to do with the movie, and I reached out to him. If you don't reach out to somebody, don't be timid and shy. Reach out to somebody. If you see him at a convention when this comes back, go talk to him. Otherwise, it's when it comes to making something, it's pretty much all on you. it's nobody else's fault if it doesn't get made, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I said, like you don't know until you ask. Like the first convention I went to, there was a special effects guy, and I said, I've always wanted to make films. He said, come here. He sat me down next to him at his booth and talked to me for like an hour.
Who was that?
I can't remember his name.
We've talked about this.
Yeah, I tried to find his name because I was a young kid.
He was an apparition.
Because he was working on House on Haunted Hill, right? Wasn't that?
Yeah, it was like 22 years ago, and like I met him. I didn't know who he was from Sam, but like he just welcomed me over, and him and his brother do special effects, and they were working on the House on Haunted Hill remake at the time, and he sat me down and talked to me, and God, it pisses me off that I don't remember his name because I didn't know who he was going into that show.
Should we look at the credits of the movie?
Well, I've looked at it. I don't remember. I looked at the names. I was like, he may me even uncredited. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, because that happens in special effects and makeup. There's a lot of different people working on huge teams. But that's the thing. Like it can be done. There's nothing stopping you from it. And forget about and again, the whole, I don't have time. I hear that all the time with people. I don't have time to do this. I don't have time. And again, it doesn't have to be art or making movies. It could be anything you want to do. You have an hour. Website. Yeah. You spend an hour watching Netflix. Don't do that. Write your script. Right, whatever it is. You went to see, there's so much time that people don't. It's just excuses. It's procrastination.
And then they're going to run out and they're going to be 60 and say, I never did that thing.
Well, like you said, Joe Bob said that about the money. Well, just skip going out to the bar that night. There's your money. You can buy that software that you need or whatever. And that's the thing they don't. It's like there's always an excuse not to do it. And there really isn't. Once you do it, like I told Ray earlier, when I held that comic book in my hand, the first comic book I ever did, I couldn't talk. And they're like, "What? Are you all right, Nate?" I'm like, "I've been dreaming about this for 20 years."
It's an unforgettable moment.
Yeah. And that was the first step, getting past that first step and then when you do it, you're like, I want another one. I want another one. I want another one. Right, Ray?
It's an addiction. It really is. I mean, as a creator, I mean, you want to work on projects. You want to see them come to life. And if you just have these ideas and you don't put forth the effort, they won't get done. But they can get done. Anything's attainable in 2020, except for going to the mall with a bunch of people. Or at a sit-down restaurant. That you can't do that. But no, anything is possible. I've always wanted to make a movie myself, and I'm very down on myself about it. But you know what? I think between the skills that I've learned, the people I know, and like I could probably call Nate anytime I want. Like, hey, dude, I need help with this. And that's another thing is you're not alone. There are probably thousands of people who want to make movies and who are doing this currently. Go look at Scream Team Releasing's lineup. Those are all people who wanted to make a movie and they accomplished it with little budgets. I mean, you can do it. That's the whole point. You stop bullshitting around and making excuses.
Always help out there. Go ahead, Keith.
I was about to say, where's Michael Lombardo when we need him?
Yeah.
He busted his ass on that movie.
Spent 3 years making a movie.
Yep.
Oh, it can happen. I mean, Star Wars, the Star Wars family took 2.5 years. But like again, they're asking for help. Like I've been a professional artist for 15 years, been drawn since I was a kid, and like I'm writing Keith this week, asking him questions because he does these dioramas and miniatures because there's an art form that I don't know that he knows.
And I had to do the same thing when I started. I had to ask people in Facebook groups and YouTube channels and hope people respond. And
do not be afraid to ask questions. One of my heroes helped me with storytelling. John Ostrander. He was a big-time DC writer back in the 80s with Suicide Squad. He did some Star Wars stuff. And I reached out to him on Facebook, and he answered all of my questions and helped me so much in my journey to getting a comic in print. So don't be afraid. There's no need to be afraid. Just do it. What's the worst thing that can happen? It's just like asking a girl out. It's the worst thing that can happen. She kick you in the nuts, probably. But yeah.
They don't reply. That's basically it. But like,
exactly,
you're like, holy shit! Like I remember writing Drew Struzan when I got my first movie poster gig, and like I'm just going to ask Drew Struzan this question, And I asked him thinking nothing's going to happen, and he answered me. I mean, it's like, wow. And that's the thing about the whole internet is that you do have access.
Damn, that's hot.
That's cool.
And it's brilliant. I mean, it's that's the cool thing about where we live now. There are no fucking excuses because we have this resource. We don't have to go to the library and search for hours to find information. It's there on our. You got a thing in your.
Go to film school.
You got this in your pocket. Use it.
Imagine being Tobe Hooper and doing TCM, like compared to now. Toby.
Yeah.
How is it that you cannot pronounce a single word?
Shut up.
I believe in you. You could get a dictionary out. You could anyway.
But if you're
I
gonna
hope
do it,
this inspires people. I hope Joe Bob inspired a bunch of people because he's right, Nate's right. I think we're all right here. Anybody can make a movie. Now, the worst part for me is now I'm out of excuses.
Yeah, Ray. Well, here's the thing. That's the thing. Like, if we all lived in the same town, state, you bet your ass we'd be trying to make a movie right now because that's like the one thing
same vicinity.
That's the other thing is finding people to connect with, and it's hard. I think that's the hardest thing is finding people connect with like in real life to actually set up and do things with because
you have to jump into it. You have to. I tell people and people say, well I don't know how to do this. I'm like, look around. Somebody in your town or in the 100-mile radius is making movies. Go help them. Mm-hmm. Go be a PA. Go carry shit. Whatever it has to do. Just like any business. If you want to be a wrestler, go help build the fucking mat. The ring. Start there. Work. And when you work on these things, you meet people.
Yep.
And you get to talking and you become friends. And then you go, hey, I got this idea. Hey, you know how to do that. You know this person. And then that's how it starts.
How many times have you heard a story like that? How many times have you heard that story? Well, I just got coffee for these guys, and look at me now. I'm making my own whatever. I mean, seriously, you do hear those stories often. It's true.
Mm-hmm. But everybody wants to be at the finish line.
PJ Starks is Dr. Pepper, so.
Because you gather a lot of knowledge by just paying attention.
Yeah,
that's all it takes, man. You gotta just
don't be afraid.
You gotta do. Be a doer.
Don't be afraid. Yeah, be a doer. Not a aspiring filmmaker or whatever. Again, the Horror Syndicate wouldn't be anything if I didn't just do it. So, right? I didn't have anybody's help doing it.
Listen to Nike.
Just listen to Nike.
Bo knows.
Is there anything else we want to say before we cut out for the night?
I think we're good.
Okay, good. Just make a movie if you want to make a movie. Thursday we'll be talking about Lords of Salem and 31. I'm really not looking forward to watching 31, but
me neither.
I've seen it once, and that was in theaters when it released.
In October, we're going to talk about Rob Zombie's Halloween movies. We're waiting till October because, well, they're Halloween movies. We're going to have a whole Halloween extravaganza all of October. So thanks for watching, and hopefully you guys got some good advice. We all seem to enjoy the Rob Zombie movies. Keith, I'm really happy you got your wallet. But at the same time, I'm disappointed because they couldn't get the hook on there. And anyway,
I'll get it on there.
Seth, I'm really interested to see what you think of 3 from Hell. But let's watch more horror, and let's make some more horror. Everybody have a good night. We'll see you on Thursday.